Hey witches, it's Willow Moonlight. I just came back from my little excursion downtown and I am going to be doing some things around the house for a little bit before my friend Emily gets here. And I really needed to just kind of clean up the floors a little bit in the kitchen. So I'm just starting to heat up some water here on the stove. You don't have to boil the water, you can if you want. But this is going to be a floor wash that not only cleans my floor a little bit, but it's mostly for magical purposes, which is to bring peace and harmony to my home. So I think this is hot enough for now. I'm just gonna turn the heat off. So the first thing that I'm gonna do is just put a little pinch of salt. I just want to kind of purify the water a little bit spiritually. And then you can just take a spoon and give it a really good stir. You're going to dissolve all that salt in there. And like I said, you don't really want a whole lot of salt because you don't want a salty floor wash, but just enough to get rid of any spiritual impurities in the water. Next thing you want to do is you want to get about half a cup of vinegar and a quarter of a cup of rubbing alcohol. And you can add that into the mix. And again, we mix, stir, blend, and wait. I'm just quiet because I'm saying a few things inside of my head to help infuse all of the ingredients together and bring forth peace and harmony into the home. The next thing that you want to do is add some dish soap into your mix. I'm gonna put in a pretty good amount. So again, we're just gonna stir that in. Now, when I first made this floor wash, I actually used water that was charged by the full moon or by the new moon back in December. And that was very special that I used that water because it was the new year, or well, it was December when I bottled the water, but it was bringing in the new year. And I was able to set my intentions on the new moon for what I wanted in the new year. So tomorrow we are coming up to the full moon. So I just want to make sure that my floors are ready. Now the next thing that you want to put in is lavender. And you can decide how strong that you want your floor wash to be in terms of scent. Lavender is very good for, you know, peace and tranquility. And so is jasmine. And they work really well together in this floor wash. Just takes a little bit to get that jasmine out. All right. Then again, you just want to give it a little stir. And I think that I'm just going to maybe give this a couple minutes before I put this in my bucket and mop the floor. Now what you could do is, if you really, really wanted to, you could let it cool down more and grab some rags and then wash the floor by hands or the area by hand. However, I don't want to do any damage to my knees, so I'm just gonna let that cool down for a little bit. Okay. So I'm gonna make and put together some tea, this full moon tea blend. I will link it in the description, the tea that I'm going to be making for the full moon, or be using on the full moon tomorrow. Again, it's not my recipe. I'm just going to be recreating it. I'm not making it perfectly the way that the person who created it did, because I don't have access to all the ingredients or quality of ingredients that she has. So I found what I could. Oops. So I'm gonna start by just preparing a cup of white peony tea leaves. Let me tell you, it's hard to find this kind of tea, but finally I was able to grab some, and I grabbed 2 boxes because I didn't know how much I would need for a full cup. So I just want to tell you a little bit about a dream that I had recently. I was in my dream standing at the window of my parents' old kitchen. They still live in the same house, but they renovated their kitchen recently. And while I was standing at the window, I could see it was pitch black outside, and a bear had come out of the woods and was running like in a rage, like it didn't know if it was coming or going. And then it ran right back into the woods. Other things happened in the dream, but I can't recall it. However, the instance with the bear, really stuck out with me, or stuck out to me. So anyways, I decided, okay, I need to figure out, what is this dream trying to tell me? So this tarot deck that I picked up late last year, the Dream Reading Cards, Discover the Purpose of Your Dreams by Rose and Sarah. Interesting little deck. I'll just show you real quick. You will need the book in order to use this deck. It's a little different. You have 2 different sets of cards. You have these themed cards right here. So you lay out the cards and you look at all of the images. So maybe in your dream there was a certain color you kept seeing, or a certain number, so then you could just pull that. Or if you had a dream about school or exams, or if you were naked, or something about possessions or babies, food, vehicles. Anyways, they had one card. It was the, oh, here it is, the animals card. So the bear really stuck out to me. So I grabbed that card and I looked up the meaning in the book. And basically, if you see an animal in your dream, it represents a sort of instinct. It represents your instincts. And if to see a wild animal in your dream, they said, or the book said, that it represented uncontrollable forces. So clearly my dream was indicating there was something about me, about my instincts, that felt out of control. And there is. And I will get to that. So anyways, then you take the reading cards and you shuffle them, and it will give you a message about your dreams, or teach you, or give you a message about what your dream's trying to teach you. So that was cool. But yeah, I think the instinct, or I don't know if it's true instinct or not, but the issue that I've been having is that I need to confront my jealousy. And ever since I've been on this journey with water, it's been teaching me that my jealousy often holds me back from my, true desire. And my desire at this point this year is to connect with people. That is the word of the year if you've seen my journal. But if you're just tuning in, that is the word of the year for me, is connect. And that is not something that has come into full effect yet, but I do have to examine my own jealousy, because often I am jealous in friendships, not of possessions, but of closeness to other people. I don't really have a lot of friends in my own personal life, and the older that you get, the harder it is to, you know, make new friends or even have time to see friends, and people tend to come and go and friendships wax and wane, and that's just going to be it, right? And yeah, it's not quite easy to get to that point where you can just make friends. I was just never a person that easily made friends. I think the easiest time I had was in the second year of my university, when I belonged to a club on campus. We were quite tight-knit. Some people even thought that maybe we were even a clique, which was not our intention, but I can definitely see, you know, how that closeness can bring about that sort of essence. But anyway, yeah, so it was, you know, I have to look at my own jealousy, and I don't necessarily respond in the way that I think a jealous person would respond, by being manipulative or getting snippy with others. I usually just sort of back off. Like, I just give up on people. It's like, oh, okay, you know, you want to go and hang out with other people instead of me now, that's fine. We weren't really friends. I mean, we're not close. We were, you know, just casual acquaintances, and I just had a tendency to just suppress my own feelings and just reject them, dismiss them. And no one really thinks highly of jealous people, or, you know, sometimes people might find it like romantic or something, that if, you know, oh, I'm the only one kind of thing. But, you know, jealousy really isn't cute. It can actually, well, I mean, in my dream I was terrified of it, because I don't know if I mentioned this, but when I looked at the list of the animals in the dream reading book, bears represent possessiveness and protection. So I am trying to protect, you know, my own feelings in that way. And I also have, you know, that feeling of being possessive, which I think another word or another concept you can branch off from the idea of possessiveness is jealousy. So I have a lot to, you know, contend with there. And that's the sort of theme that I've been working with recently spiritually, is my need to confront my jealousy. Because if I am going to connect with people, I do have to understand that, you know, the people that are coming into my life also have other friends and other responsibilities and other people that they already have established relationships with. And, you know, maybe they do have more fun with other people. I don't know. Hold on. It's so easy to feel inadequate. And many times in my life, I had felt like I alone was not enough for, you know, for somebody. I always needed to have a reason, you know, to bring somebody closer in my life. So I, at one point was, you know, I could be very giving at one point, like, oh, why don't you come hang out with me and I'll give you the thing that you need. And, you know, that could be anything really. Anything from, you know, people needing, you know, emotional support if they needed that, or, you know, possessions. I would use my own possessions as a reason to invite people over. And that actually impacted a very close relationship of mine, because I think that she felt that I was being boastful about the things that I had, but really I was just trying to be like, hey, come over here and see this because I want to hang out with you, but I'm not enough to reel you in. Her and I are no longer friends. We haven't spoke to each other in many years, and that's okay. I've moved on. It was my choice to end that friendship, and I kind of just gradually ended it by not being, I don't know exactly how to put it. There's a lot with that friendship anyways, but I'm not going to talk about that. But yeah, I definitely used, other things to attract people into my life that weren't necessarily me. And the problem, I think, is that I don't really think highly of myself. That I don't love myself. But there's also other things that I don't really understand yet about why I don't like me or don't feel good about me. But I definitely don't receive like a lot of praise in that sense. Like, I don't know. I remember one time I was at work and there was I don't make friends very easily. And I work at a very big place, about 300 people that work there. And finally, I kind of had some one-on-one time with one of the people that worked there. And we were talking late one night. There wasn't really much else to do in our I think she was working overnight, but I was done at 11. So it was around 10:30 at night. We got into a wonderful conversation. I was just loving it so much, and it just seemed like everything was going so well, and she had to excuse herself to go to the bathroom, so that was fine. I was just sitting where we were at and waiting for her to return, and I waited and I waited and I waited. Finally, my shift was coming to an end, and I thought, okay, maybe she just got caught up in something or whatever, and I went to the place where I had to return a few work-related items before I went home, and there she was, and was sitting in this little area where there was lots of tables and chairs with a group of people chatting and having lots of fun. And I felt so stupid because I was there waiting for her to come back so we could continue the conversation that we were enjoying, but it just kind of felt like maybe she didn't really want to continue that conversation. She had moved on from it. So yeah, I just it's kind of hard not to think that there is something about me that, people don't like or something, or that I'm not enough. I wasn't enough for her to come back or something. I don't know. I took it quite personally, and I don't know if that's right or wrong of me to do so, but I didn't want to feel hurt over it. So I just sort of buried the feeling and was like, oh, well, she's, wanted to talk to her other friends, and which that may be so, but I didn't really try having any other conversations with her or spend any other time with her. When I saw her recently and she asked me how my Christmas was, and I just said, fine, thanks, and that was it. Just fine, thanks. I didn't elaborate. And I didn't ask her or inquire about how her Christmas went. And I didn't want to. I don't know, it just all seems really childish coming from my point of view, but that's just how I operate. So, yeah, that's one of the things that I hope that I can change this year moving forward, is dealing with my feelings of jealousy and, feeling inadequate. This isn't quite 1 cup, but that's all I have for white peony tea. So I am hoping that I can continue to grow this year and you know, try to just change my ways. You know, I don't really know at this point, is, you know, jealousy in friendships always going to be something to contend with? Or is it possible just to release it? You know, just take all my jealousy, take my tendencies, take my history, past, my feelings, everything, and just let it go. You know, and if I do let it go, is that really what I need to do with jealousy? You know, must it always be let go? If I just let it go, am I just denying it? It's just like saying, you know, just to not care about something anymore. But I do care. And it does prevent me from getting closer to people, because when I feel a hint of rejection or like there's something wrong, it's just like that's the end. I don't know. Look at all this waste. But yeah. I've been trying to look at jealousy a little bit deeper as well. I have been watching, you know, videos on YouTube about jealousy, but nothing really seems to, nothing just really seems to be connecting with me very well. I don't particularly understand or relate to, you know, what the experts are trying to say about jealousy. And a lot of the times they don't really talk about jealousy in the context of, you know, friendships, you know, closeness with friendships. I was saying a lot of the modern, like, psychology advice doesn't really help me at all. And something else that I want to talk about, maybe not in this video, but certainly in a future video, is, you know, the idea of dismissing other people's feelings. However, I'm not really ready to talk about that yet. I'm not prepared, you know, with content, and I just need a little more time to think. So, we're almost at the end of the green jasmine tea. I could have bought another box and I could have got more of that white peony, but this is what I have. You know, I don't live in places in the world where they have, we have access to a lot of unique things. I think that in the most recent years we've been pretty good. So that's not quite half a cup, but we're gonna add that into our mix. And I have some dried rose petals right here. We're gonna put in about half a cup. Lovely.